everybody, happy Friday and welcome to Collider Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host Sinead DeFries and this is the daily show where we bring you the latest news from the world of movies, plus some insight into what it all means. Joining us this morning is your Collider Movie Talk crew. First up, senior producer John Campea.
Well, greetings and salutations everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, coming to you from right here at the Collider Video Studios here in Burbank, California, and we are so glad you decided to make us part of your day.
Also here, senior producer at HitFix, Miss Roth Cornet.
Senior editor at HitFix.
Oh my God, I'm sorry.
And Roth's here.
And I'm so happy.
I know,
to be
I
here.
said it like 10 times in my head too. I was like, senior editor,
it's
senior
like,
editor.
Doesn't even matter at all. I'm so happy to be
Coffee
here.
fetcher at HitFix. It's Roth Cornet.
Also here, writer at Screen Rant, Mr. David Griffin.
I'm humbled to be here. I am not a senior of anything. I'm in the presence of royalty today, so I'm just happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Hey, you know, a D23 started today, so we got Schnepp off in Australia. Mark and Christian are already at D23. I'm going to be heading down there to join them this afternoon, and we're so thrilled to have Roth and David here join us. Thanks for taking the time to be here today, guys.
Thank you. You're the senior of my heart, David.
Thank you so much. I'll take it. That's something.
All right, let's get going.
As most of you know by now, the Lego movie directors Phil Lord and Chris Miller are preparing to direct a still untitled Star Wars anthology film about Han Solo. What we still don't know is what the film will be about or who will play the role made iconic by Harrison Ford. However, in a recent interview with Entertainment Weekly, Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy gave us some insight into what we can expect the film to focus on and what age Han Solo will be in the new films. Kennedy said the following: "We don't want to spend time going back and answering a lot of questions that, quite frankly, I don't think people want answered. I think the key here is that we are identifying an event or events in Han Solo's life that gives you some idea of who he is and why he is the character we have all known to love. You can imagine, given who we've chosen to come in and direct, it should be very entertaining and funny. Han Solo is the character inside Star Wars that everybody knows has a wit and a sense of humor. So that's what this should be. He'll definitely be probably in the high teens, low 20s. We're not introducing you to a 10-year-old Han Solo." John, what are your thoughts on Kennedy's comments?
There are several things that I really like about her comments. But first of all, let me preface this by saying something everybody already knows. I don't like that they're doing a Han Solo movie. Don't get me wrong, it's Star Wars, so I'm going to be their opening day, and I'll probably giggle like a little boy and have a really great time at it. But I don't like that Star Wars continues to make their universe smaller and going back to characters we already know and whatever. But she said a couple of very key things here that I like. And one of them goes to why I don't want a Han Solo movie. She says, we don't want to answer questions that people don't want answered. That's part of the reason why I don't want you doing a Boba Fett movie. Just keep the mystery of Boba Fett. But I do like that she's aware of that. Like, guess what? They unveiled the mystery of Darth Vader and it kind of ruined Darth Vader in many ways. Like, that's why we just shut out the prequels from our minds. But you know, the fact that she's aware of this and they're operating understanding that gives me some hope. I also was wondering if they might go Harry Potter with Han Solo. I really did. I thought there might be a chance they would do that. I'm very relieved that they're not. Late teens, early 20s. This is also good because it puts us in a different age range for Han Solo than he was in the original Star Wars. So hopefully we won't be comparing whoever's got to play him now to Harrison Ford because that's a losing fight. So I like the comments, actually. If they are going to do a Han Solo movie, it sounds like they're taking the right approach. I don't know, Roth, what do you think?
I'm so lost in thinking about like Han with a wand going, "You shot first, Harry." You know,
Shot first, Harry.
That's sort of like where my head is at right now. I'm like, I don't know. I kind of love it. I think this is great, and I agree with you. To see a little kid, although it would be interesting to do a Star Wars family film. I mean, not that they're not all family films, you know, but it would be interesting to sort of see what they did if they were able to attack that in a way that worked versus what we've seen previously, which was trying to attack that in a way that didn't work. I don't know if that's really making any sense, but I like that he's a little bit older. I do have questions about doing a Han Solo film because I don't know that anybody but this man captures that character. You know, he changed so much of what was on the page. He embodied him, you know, he gave him lines, those iconic lines, I know. That's all Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
So who do you find that can bring that same energy to it? I don't know. So that's sort of what I think is the biggest challenge. In terms of what they're going to attack story-wise, what made him him? Is he kind of a good guy turned bad?
See, I know. I think or a bad guy turned good. I think this is pure speculation, not based on anything. Okay, I think it will be whatever moment he and Chewie meet. I think now the in the expanded universe and in the urban legends of Star Wars, Han freed Chewie from an Imperial slave camp, and according to Wookiee rule, he now has a life debt to Han. And if you're asking me, like, what event changed the course of Han's life, I think I can think of two things. One, coming into contact with Chewbacca and becoming that lifelong bond with Chewbacca. Second is when he gets the Millennium Falcon. And I don't think they're going to have him get the Millennium Falcon that young. So I'm thinking it's going to be the Chewbacca thing. Quick, fun piece of trivia. Who was the leading guy expected to get the role of Han Solo before it went to Harrison Ford? Anyone?
I don't know.
Kurt Russell.
Oh my God.
David, your thoughts on Ken?
The
Well,
great. Wait a minute.
That just kind of blew my mind.
Let's all pause to honor the greatest, not actual action hero fighter like a Bruce Lee, but the greatest one-line pithy action hero of all time, the great Kurt Russell. Continue.
He's still with us, though.
Yeah,
he's still with us. Let's be
Doesn't matter.
clear. He's got a movie coming out.
Hateful Eight coming out. Yeah. Everything about this sounds really interesting. I'm curious to see how they're gonna cast Han Solo. I think that's going to be the most interesting thing because he's got to embody Harrison Ford. Now, hopefully, you hear most actors when they go into a role that's going to be this big and this crucial, they won't be a copycat. Not gonna look at Harrison Ford films and be like, okay, I need to be him. Hopefully, they'll take on bring their own aura to the film, but it's going to be tough because they're going to cast older. Like, think about Catch Me If You Can with Leo. Leo was 28 years old back in 2002 when he did that film, and he was in high school in the beginning of it. So they're going to go older, or do you think they're going to cast maybe more around 19 or 20 years of age?
Well, here you bring up an interesting thing that is a dilemma for them. See, a lot of times when you have somebody coming in who's going to play a character that somebody else made iconic, whether a new James Bond or something along those lines, often it's because it's a new incarnation, or it's a reboot, or it's a retelling, or a restarting of a franchise. No, Harrison Ford is still playing Han Solo.
Right.
And this is still the same timeline. This is still the same guy. So whoever you're getting to play him also has to be believable that this is the same guy we meet in episode 4 in that cantina a few years later. So it almost becomes incumbent upon them, unlike in a lot of other situations you were pointing out, that you do got to pull off a damn good Harrison Ford imitation.
And he's got to kind of look like him a little bit because from 20 to, what was he, in his mid-30s when he shot Star Wars? So it's like you don't change, you change, but not that much. You're like a whole new person when you're 34 years old.
He does have to look, and I think you almost have to get an unknown. You have to have a blank slate to some degree, or as unknown as humanly possible. Let me say
Matthew
this.
McConaughey.
Obviously, the continuation of the McConaughey.
In the Lincoln.
Have it be, what's Kurt Russell's son name? He's the hockey player.
Oh, I totally forget.
Get him. Let history repeat itself. I think this is my final thoughts. I love the Chewie idea, but what I meant by good guy turned bad is that he was a scoundrel when we met him, and he turned into a good guy. So what if he was a good guy and then something happened to sort of like create a scoundrel out of him? I don't know. But I love the Chewie idea. And let us not forget that Lord and Miller can do anything, in my opinion. They can make any idea work.
And I like that they're going for fun and entertainment because look, if you look at the core of Han Solo, that's what it is. Because I admit at first, Lord and Miller, who I think just everything they touch turns to gold right now, when I first heard them attached to Star Wars, I'm like, them doing a Star Wars film? And it gave me pause for a second, but then I stopped and thought, well, who's Star Wars film it? Han Solo. Yeah. Like if this was like, for instance, a Vader standalone film, no, I don't want Lord and Miller directing this film. If this was a Tarkin standalone film, no, I don't want Lord and Miller doing this. If it was an Uncle Owen standalone film, no, I do not want, but Han Solo or Lando.
Right.
Han Solo or Lando, Lord Miller would knock out of the park.
A Lando film.
I know, right? That
Would
could be totally
awesome.
slick.
Right now they're doing a Lando comic book series at Marvel. So the thing is, I think we forget how funny those original movies were. There's a lot of great humor in there. So I think Lord Miller are going to be great for that.
Wyatt Russell, by the way. Everybody wanted.
All right, what's next?
As Hugh Jackman continues his daily high-intensity workouts for his upcoming final appearance as the character Wolverine in the still untitled Wolverine 3 film, actor Patrick Stewart is giving us a little bit of insight into the new film. In a recent interview with Collider's own Steve Weintraub, Stewart revealed that he is indeed appearing in the movie and it will be a significant role. Stewart said the following: "There is a project in development. I understand that Professor Xavier will be making more than an appearance, however, and that intrigues me. And the idea of an old Wolverine, I'm really looking forward to Hugh Jackman getting old. You know, damn him, he looks so great. So I'm hoping to see him covered in prosthetics, and then he'll make me look better if that's the case. David, your thoughts on Patrick Stewart's comments?
First of all, Patrick Stewart still looks amazing.
Yeah.
That is a good-looking dude.
That dude has not aged since Dune.
Right.
Yeah.
Dude,
He was in Dune.
You watch the episode of Next Generation, you see him now.
Yeah.
I don't think he has a little hair on the side anymore, but he looks pretty much the same.
Yeah.
He ages well.
Yeah,
So he
he's
should not
so-
be jealous of Hugh
You know
Jackman.
what we talked about it on Movie Talk the other day? The guy who played the farmer in Babe, James Cromwell.
Oh, yeah.
That is another dude
Dennis.
who at some point 25 years ago made a pact with Satan,
Yes.
and he is not like aged today. Anyway, sorry.
So we'll talk about Wolverine, talk about Old Man Logan possibilities. First of all, it's not been confirmed nor denied that we are getting an Old Man Logan story. But the problem is, we were talking about this earlier, is the licensing and all that, and Fox's bad beef with Marvel. I mean, we can't get the original story that Mark Millar wrote back in 2008, or even the newer version that's going on right now in Secret Wars with Marvel Comics right now. I mean, because there's some cool stuff in that comic.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a part where Bruce Banner actually consumes Wolverine, eats him, and
Yeah.
then he gets better and then busts out, and it's like you can't do that because we can't have Bruce Banner.
Well, you can't, and it would be so awesome to see that actual story because it's so bad. It's insane. It's complete bat sanity, and just the whole consuming people at will. Is such, it's like I would love to
And a
see
bunch of
that.
little inbred Hulk offspring running around.
Running
yeah.
around.
And he uses Iron Man's armor to get back to where he needs to go. I mean, yeah.
But what I think that you maybe can do is take the essence of it, and sort of like this, and it sort of fits with what the X-Men is doing in terms of this feudal future in which it's like basically feudal system,
Right.
and America's divided between two huge feudal lords that are villains, and Wolverine's caught up in the middle of it. I think you can do that. I'm not sure which characters they would use to do that, but I'd love to see an Old Man Logan story. So I hope that's what they're going to do. Where does Professor X fit into this, though?
That's a great question, and the answer is it doesn't matter because it's Patrick Stewart. Patrick Stewart, can I just say, if there is an awards, I want to nominate Patrick Stewart for the greatest human being alive. First of all, online, anytime him and Ian McKellen get together, and they start every once in a while they do their little Johnson, do all the selfies with it. Those are some of the funnest things to look at online. And if you have not seen this video that went up, I think about 2 years ago, I know I'm going off on a tangent, but that it was Patrick Stewart at some kind of convention, and he tells a story because of a question came from Did you see this? Where he tells a story about coming from a home where there was an abusive home,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. It is one of the most heartfelt, amazingly vulnerable things I've seen. This is just like one of the greatest human beings alive. He is so cool. Now, where does he fit into all this? I'm not really sure. What is kind of cool, though, is this is where we're getting the Old Man Logan stuff. He's dropping these things. And a little bit further in the interview, he talked about how, look, one of the problems that Hugh is facing too is that Wolverine is supposed to age real slow. And we are, just watch the first X-Men movie. Hugh Jackman is aging and somehow getting bigger and better looking with age, but whatever. And that's a problem for the story. So we got to do something a little bit different. I thought that was interesting. It does sound like they're going to go with Old Man Logan. It will be interesting to see if they confirm that or not. But let's not forget, aside from the fact that there are key characters in an Old Man Logan story, like Hulk, like
Hawkeye.
Hawkeye is a significant,
Red Skull.
lot of different ones. Fox does have the rights to Doctor Doom. Let's give
true.
maybe they could still use
I
him.
feel like that's almost,
Third time's the charm?
I feel like that's
Third
almost a
time's the charm.
dig. John.
If we only had that little wah wah sound effect to go right now.
Can I nominate just randomly George Takei as the vice president of greatest person in the world?
He's awfully funny.
He's amazing.
He's awfully funny.
He's amazing. My other question, and I know we probably have to get off this topic, though, the thing that I'm curious about is how this fits into the greater X-Men universe and sort of what they're doing in terms of rebooting these timelines. I mean, we're going to see how that plays out in Apocalypse, but I'm like, well, because if Professor X is there and it's Patrick Stewart, is that a whole other timeline that we're talking about?
Or like an Elseworld sort, because if you
Yeah.
Old Man Logan exists in like a different, there's a 616 Marvel universe,
Yeah.
and then Old Man Logan exists in a different one. So
Right.
are fans going to know that? I mean, they're going to announce
How
that.
do
at the
you
beginning of the
explain that in a movie?
Yeah.
Well, I think what's important to understand is that at Fox, they have like a guiding principle for their X-Men canon. It's a 2-word principle. And that 2-word principle is continuity, schmontinuity. They don't care. If you watch any X-Men film, they absolutely don't care at all about continuity from one film to the next. They just seem to worry about, does this make us a good movie? So they'll set a Wolverine film. Let's say they do this. They set a Wolverine film a little bit in the future, and it's an older man logo. Somehow they figure out how Professor Xavier, maybe he's a head in a fishbowl. I don't know. He is Professor Xavier. He can do some weird things. So he's still around. And whether it does or does not fit in with what goes on in Apocalypse, it seems like Fox doesn't care. And normally I would get upset by that. But it hasn't really had negative effects so far. It hasn't bothered us.
Has it bothered anybody? Is it bothered anybody
me.
out there? I'm curious.
No, not me. I mean, I think because the stories they're good stories. A good movie's a good movie. That's why I get frustrated sometimes when a lot of the hardcore fans, especially X-Men fans, say like these movies aren't X-Men movies. They don't embody what X-Men is. But I'm like, just give me a good story. You can change up the ethnicities, the gender, but as long as it's a good story, I don't need Superman to channel Superman from 1948. I don't need that version of Superman anymore. That's kind of played out. But I mean, as long as it's you give me the story, give me good characters, interesting plot, that's what I want to see. That's what you want to go to the movies for. It doesn't have to add up to the comics because they can exist as two separate entities. The comics and the stories are always going to be like you watch Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones. If you only like the books, those words are always going to be on those pages. Just because something's different in the movie form doesn't have to affect the
You just summed up my argument why I don't mind reboots.
And it's sometimes nice to see a slightly different interpretation of something you love because it can be surprising.
Yeah. Right. All right, folks, we've reached that part of the show now for buy or sell. Here's how this works. In front of her, Sinead's got a few other items in the world of movie news. She's going to run them down. Then those of us at the table are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Sinead, what do we got?
As most of you will remember, a sequel to the hit comedy Neighbors is currently in development with Seth Rogen, Rose Byrne, and Zac Efron all set to reprise their roles from the original. One significant name that was missing from the original reports was Dave Franco, who played Efron's frat brother and best friend in the original. Now, according to a report in The Wrap, Franco has indeed signed on for the film. Roth, buy or sell Dave Franco returning for Neighbors 2?
Oh, buy. Absolutely. He's hilarious in that movie. That movie was such a surprise. I to be honest with you, I had a question mark going in, but I love it. I think it's hilarious. I think Dave Franco, I think is an actor like his brother that is sort of easy for the public to hate on in some ways. But I think he's so talented and so funny in everything I've seen. So yes, bring it on.
Yeah, I've got to buy this. Actually, it's funny because when we talked about Neighbors 2 moving ahead a couple of weeks ago, one of the things we all mentioned was, kind of noticeable by their absence in this is Dave Franco. And he's here, and I'm really glad. The chemistry between him and Zac Efron was actually really good in Neighbors. Neighbors was a complete surprise for me. I did not have much hope going into that film, and I laughed a lot in that film. I really enjoyed it. And now with Chloe Moretz signing up, and it sounds now, I heard this rumor. I don't know if this is true. Folks, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong on this, but I've been reading that the subtitle of this movie is going to be Sorority Uprising. It's going to be Neighbors 2 Sorority Uprising, where we speculate when Chloe Moretz was signed on to this that now the house next door is going to be a sorority, and it seems that that's confirmed. So let me know if you've heard anything on that title or not. Anyway, your thoughts on Dave Franco's addition to this sequel?
I buy Dave Franco, but I'm always with a little hesitation. Comedy sequels always worry me.
True.
They don't have the best track record, even if you stack the cast. Let's just hope this is more 2022 Jump Street and less Hangover 2. That's what I worry about. And one of my favorite slogans, this is an older movie, just date me a little bit, but best movie ever made about golf, Caddyshack. Worst movie ever made about golf, Caddyshack 2.
Yeah.
So it's like I hope this goes on the 20. This is a great cast. I love the first one, so I hope that it retains that what it did in the first one. I hope it's good. I hope so.
Yeah. I mean, that's a fair concern, but
Fingers crossed.
Fingers are crossed here.
What if Rose Byrne and Seth Rogen each side with either the sorority or the fraternity, and they battle each other, and then little baby Awesome gets in the mix and needs to negotiate?
I hope that baby has an age. I hope that baby has an age.
Same baby.
All right, what's next?
Jurassic World shocked the film world when it unexpectedly became the #1 all-time opening weekend box office champ and the #3 box office film worldwide of all time. Now Universal and IMAX have announced that Jurassic World will be back on IMAX screens for a special week-long engagement in domestic IMAX 3D theaters beginning August 28th. John, do you buy or sell Jurassic World returning to IMAX screens?
I'll buy it, I guess, just by a margin. I mean, really, this is more of a fact that there's not really a lot of great IMAX 3D films out there, so they need to put something on the screen, and why not? I enjoyed Jurassic World. I had a really good time with it. Now, I didn't love it out of my mind, but hey, look at other people try to do more Jurassic World and Jurassic Park movies, and look how those turned out. You know, Jurassic Park 2 and Jurassic Park 3. This is clearly the best follow-up film to Jurassic, and really, truly, the true sequel to Jurassic Park, I think. They did a really good job. So putting it back on the big screen, you know, while people are still excited about it and still talking about it, there's still all this buzz about it breaking all these box office records, makes sense. So yeah, by that much, I'll buy it.
Yeah, I mean, you need a reason to go see these big movies. They always theaters are always trying to figure out, or studios are trying to figure out ways to get people to come in the cinemas.
Yeah.
That this is the film to see on the big screen. And people who didn't get a chance to see it, maybe through word of mouth, heard that it was fantastic or at least enjoyable. Hopefully they'll get a chance to see it in IMAX.
And I got to admit, I'm going to go back and see it again.
Oh yeah, I mean it's all about the money, of course, but still, I mean, why not see it again? It's a great film.
Yeah, it's funny when you were saying, oh, well, Fox has a 2-word philosophy. I'm like, money talks, you know?
That too.
It's basically, and I think that's any studio's philosophy. So as a financial decision, I absolutely understand it. There's still an appetite for this movie.
That's a good one.
Don't encourage me. That was terrible. That was just awful. And I apologize to the world at large. But yeah, I certainly understand. I think it's fun, you know, and I think it's if people want to see it in IMAX 3D, great. I know there's like such polarized opinions about this movie, but I'm kind of with you where I'm like, it's certainly not my favorite of the year, which is unequivocally Mad Max. But it's fun. It's a fun time at the movies.
All right, what's next?
The trailer for the upcoming film Sicario has hit the web. Sicario follows FBI agent Kate, played by Emily Blunt, and her conflicting journey that descends into the intrigue, corruption, and moral mayhem of the borderland drug wars. In the lawless border area stretching between the U.S. and Mexico, Kate is exposed to the brutal world of international drug trafficking by members of a government task force who have enlisted her in their plan to take out a Mexican cartel boss. The film also stars Josh Brolin and Benicio del Toro and opens September 18th in limited release, with the wide release the following week. David, do you buy or sell this trailer for Sicario?
I definitely buy the Sicario trailer. I'd buy anything with Benicio del Toro. He's an odd guy, but he's odd in all the right ways. He is, in my opinion, I think like a true movie star. Maybe he's not the biggest name on the planet like Brad Pitt or Tom Cruise, but he embodies the strangeness and the weirdness and the talent to pull off anything that he's in. And he looks like old Benicio. He's got lean, you know, the bags under his eyes are less. They're still there, but maybe not as much as he normally has, you know. I mean, he's just such a cool guy. And of course, Emily Blunt is fantastic in everything she does. She's just popping up in a lot. She's becoming almost like an Amy Adams in a way. They're both very different in their approach, but she's just popping up in everything. You're starting to see her more and more. So I'm excited for her, especially after Edge of Tomorrow or Live, Die, Repeat, whatever you want to call it. I think she's fantastic. So I definitely buy this trailer. I'm excited to see this. I think it's going to be good. And the writer, John, he only has 2 credits to his name, but he was in 21 episodes, I looked up, of Sons of Anarchy, which I know you and I, he played the sheriff for a couple seasons after that bald guy left. Yeah, he was in Sons of Anarchy. He doesn't have many writing credits. He has one other writing credit.
That's hilarious. I got to look that up now.
Yeah,
that's hilarious. Well, I'm going to buy this too. I like this cut of this trailer better than the first version of the trailer that I saw a while ago, because the first version of the trailer gave away a lot, and I think a very key plot twist at the first trailer. And this one, you kind of get a hint at it, but it doesn't hit you over the head with it. So I like that. You're right. Benicio del Toro, a lot of people forget how talented this guy is, because he can play Mexican drug cartel murder movies, and that he's the same guy who was in Snatch. And he's brilliant.
He's also the collector.
He is also the collector, which probably my least favorite part of Guardians of the Galaxy. That wasn't his fault. It's the way they went with it. But I like this trailer. You're right. The names attached involved. The drama looks intense. Those scenes in the streets and stuff like that, you could feel the tension even just in the trailer. So for me, it's a buy.
Yeah, Benicio del Toro, I just saw him play Pablo Escobar in in a movie that was okay. It was Escobar Paradise Lost. It was an okay film, but he was fantastic in it. But I 100%, I 1,000% buy this movie, and I have from the start. The director, Denis Villeneuve, and I'm doing my best with that. He did Prisoners and Enemy.
Yes.
And he is attached to the new Blade Runner movie, which is just like a fascinating pick to me because he really does kind of, I think, his other films capture the tone of Blade Runner, which I'm not actually sure means that it's going to be a great blockbuster success, but I think it'll be an awesome movie. And if you guys haven't seen those two films, Prisoners and Enemy, you should check it out.
Yeah.
He does really interesting work, so I'm all for it.
All right, folks, we reached that part of the show now for our weekly segment. Not opening this week. That was yesterday. Box office predictions brought to you by our friends at AMC Theaters. We're simply going to go around our panel here and try to predict what will be the number 1 through number 5 box office movies come Monday. I will lead us off. I will start us off this week with my box office predictions, and so here they go. Coming in number 1 this week will be Straight Outta Compton. This is a solid movie. Should go see it. First 2 acts alone are worth it. Falls apart a bit for me in the 3rd act, but whatever. First 2 acts are so good. That scene at the Detroit concert is going to be one of my probably top 10 favorite scenes of any movie this year. You got to run out and see it. I think number 1 is going to be Straight Outta Compton. Coming in 2nd place, I believe will be Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. I think it's going to hang in there for the number 2 spot. Coming in number 3 is actually my favorite movie opening this week is Man from U.N.C.L.E. I like this movie a lot more than I thought I would, and I think I like it a lot more than most people do. But for whatever reason, it just absolutely, totally worked for me. Coming in number 4 will be Fantastic Four. We'll hold out there for those who are morbidly curious about all the disaster talk that's going on around it. And I think coming in number 5 this week will be The Gift. So it's going to be Straight Outta Compton. It's going to be Mission Impossible. It's going to be Man from U.N.C.L.E. It's going to be Fantastic Four, and it's going to be The Gift. That is my prediction. But before you put all your money on me, don't forget I totally botched last week's box office prediction. Whiffed completely. Anyway, David, what about you? How's the box office going to shake out on Monday?
I believe very similar to yours, John. I'm going to go with I think Straight Outta Compton as well. I think that's just getting such good buzz. Everybody loves it. I know a lot of people here have seen it. I haven't. I'm going to see it today, actually, right after we finish shooting this. So I'm going to Straight Outta Compton. I think I'm going to put Mission Impossible at 2. I think that's still going to get some really good business. Put Man from U.N.C.L.E. at 3. I'm going to actually move up. I'm going to do the Gift over Fantastic Four.
You're probably right.
Just because of how bad it is, I don't think anybody wants to go sit. No, but like I said, maybe morbid curiosity. People are just going to pay just to see, like, is it really that bad? Is everybody saying it? And then conclusion, Fantastic Four
will be in the number 5 spot.
spot.
What about you, Ralph?
I'm going to agree that it's absolutely going to be Straight Outta Compton as number 1 with like $40 million. I think it's going to do great. I'm going to say number 2 is Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Hope you're right.
3 will be Mission Impossible. Number 4 will be Fantastic Four. Number 5 will be The Gift. That is my prediction.
All right, 3 different predictions for it. So make sure you tune in on Monday and find out how the box office actually shook out to see which of us were right and which of us, probably me, were dead wrong. All right, folks, we reached that part of the show now for Mailbag. This is how it works. Listen, folks, if you've got a topic or a question you'd like us to address on the show, just email us anytime at collidervideo@gmail.com. We try to take a couple of your questions every day. So, Sinead, what's in the mailbag today?
Berinda Powell writes, "Hey guys, I just watched the trailer for The Hateful Eight and I realized that Christoph Waltz isn't in it. I always assumed that he was supposed to be in it and I thought that it was confirmed that he was. Do you guys know what happened? Was that even true? Thanks and keep up the good work."
Look, you can be forgiven to just automatically assume a new Quentin Tarantino movie will have Christoph Waltz. The last 2 films of his had Christoph Waltz, and it ended in Academy Awards all around. So you're be forgiven for that, but he was never going to be in this film. That was never a part of it, that he was ever going to be in it. And I believe there was an interview with Christoph where he basically talked, you don't just put me in it to be in it. There wasn't a role that was best for him to play. And that's the important thing. And I think that's something we lose sometimes as film fans. We just think, oh, that guy's a great actor, just put him in it. Well, is there a role that's right for him? That's the bigger question. And that's the type of question that a filmmaker like Quentin Tarantino asks, and that actors like Christoph Waltz asks. And if you saw the trailer for this movie, you realize, I don't really think Christoph Waltz is, regardless of how uber talented he is, I don't think any of these characters were right for him to play. So no, he was never going to be a part of it, to the best of my knowledge, and it's probably a good thing that he's not in it. That's not the only films he has to be in, although when he's not with Quentin Tarantino, he's doing like Green Hornet. But anyway,
no, well, he's doing other things. He's doing things like Big Eyes, which also was, which I'm not saying is necessarily a great film.
Oh, and he did Three Musketeers. He was Cardinal Vision in Three Musketeers.
He was good. He was good in Big Eyes. So those were great performances. We can argue about the movie, and we'll probably be on the same page ultimately. Yeah, I agree with you. You don't want something to become sort of distracting stunt casting, and he was just like, look, I like the idea of being a player with people, but I don't want to be a player just to be a player. It's got to make sense, and it didn't. I cannot wait to see that movie. I cannot wait to see that movie with the incomparable Kurt Russell.
He's a man. I think it was an interview. I think he said he didn't want to be a groupie.
He doesn't want to be a groupie.
He didn't mean that in an offensive way. I think he's just saying, he's like, look, I got my Academy Awards, both of them from the Tarantino films, but Tarantino didn't make him a great actor. He brought out, he put him in a role that, just showed how good he is, showcased his talents, but he didn't make him a good actor. He was a good actor before that. I understand. I mean, you look at guys like, is it Michael? I always mess up his name's Madsen. Or not Madsen, Madsen.
Yeah, Madsen.
Let's get those. Yeah, Madsen. He's good. He's got a lot of. You look at his IMDb, a lot of credits, but a lot of those are associated with Tarantino films. You kind of think of him, you do think of Tarantino, even though he's talented. I feel like he's not as good as Christoph Waltz is. He's not as diverse. He can't play the villain on Spectre on the new James Bond film. I don't think so. I think some of these guys get their careers from Tarantino, as opposed to Waltz, not so much.
All right, what's next?
Aaron writes, "Hey guys, greetings from Germany. I love your show. My question is about the upcoming Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters sequel. I'm one of the few people who actually enjoyed the first one, mainly because of Jeremy Renner and Gemma Arterton in the leading roles, with Renner being in 3 big franchises right now, Avengers, Bourne, and Mission Impossible, and Gemma successfully doing more smaller films. Do you think that they would return for such a silly, fun, over-the-top movie like Hansel and Gretel 2? Thanks, and keep up the great work."
I am also one of those people where I will not go so far as to say I really liked Hansel and Gretel. I'll go as far as to say it wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it could have been. There were, I thought, redeeming qualities about Hansel and Gretel. I had some fun in it, as a matter of fact. Now, when you ask the question about, do I think they would return? The answer is they got no choice. Mm-hmm. This is why when studios have films that they think are going to be franchises or could be franchises, when you're going to sign up, they make you sign a contract that says we agree to appear in up to 3 Hansel and Gretel movies, or up to 4 Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, or up to 5 Star Trek movies, or whatever the case may be. These studios make you sign a multiple film deal. That doesn't mean those films are going to happen, but it means that if they decide to make Hansel and Gretel 2, working around your schedule, once we work it around your schedule, you got to come back and play them. So and for all the interviews and talk I've seen Jeremy Renner talk about Hansel and Gretel, from everything I understand, he actually had a lot of fun shooting that movie, and he really liked working with Gemma. I thought she was actually really good in the movie. I thought she's could be the next action female star. Yeah, she really stood out in that film, which says something when the film's not all that great. But the answer to your question, would they come back? The answer is they have no choice.
Yeah, that's what first of all, she looked like she was painted from the angel's wings. She is so beautiful.
Yeah.
And she's such a good actress. She's got such a great presence. I don't think she's had her right vehicle yet, but I can't wait to see it when she does. This movie, yeah, to your point, that's what I was going to say. Well, they probably don't have a choice. If they're contracted to, which I'm sure they are. This movie made, I think, roughly I'm looking at Box Office Mojo, around $226 million worldwide. It was
on a very modest
production budget. It was about $50 million. So the likelihood of a sequel is there. It doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it certainly could if it's considered financially viable.
Plus, it's a good payday. I'm sure they get a decent check for it. I mean, it's only $50 million budget, like I said, but it's it is a business. They have to make money. It's not going to challenge Renner, I'm sure, as an actor as much as some other roles he's done. But it's still it's a good business. It's good money if it's doing well, especially internationally. Get your international name out there like a Tom Cruise, and you can act for a long time. Because some people that you would think their movies don't do well in the States, but they make bank overseas. And if like you said, it did so well internationally, that's good for these two.
Speaking of ageless, that man, Tom Cruise, is 53 years
He looks
old.
great.
Oh, I know.
I
He
just
looks-
want
I
to
know.
say
Yeah.
that.
He looks amazing.
Yeah.
He is 53 years old.
He still looks like he's sliding around the floor in his underwear, and that happens.
I'm sure
so.
he is
And
sliding
you know
around
what?
the floor
It
in
does
his
make
underwear.
sense because not only did it make decent worldwide money on a very modest budget, but I think it makes sense that they are moving forward with this because right now Jeremy Renner is a much bigger star right now than he was when they made the first one. I mean, so you look at we made financial money on the first one. This is a good genre now that people like going out to see, and we got a guy who's now a bigger star now than he was before. Yeah, you figure out a way to move forward with it. And
Yeah.
I think that's probably what they're doing. Hey, listen, folks, that will do it for us for this installment of Collider Movie Talk. Thank you so much for joining us. But listen, I want to let you guys know, too, if you're looking forward to that new film, American Ultra, that's opening up here soon, check out our Collider Video YouTube channel or head on over to collider.com. We are debuting an exclusive red band action clip from the film that's actually a really, really cool clip. You'll want to make sure to check that out. I want to make sure to remind you guys that lots of great films are playing at our friends AMC Theaters right now. Head on over to www.amctheaters.com for all of your theater, showtime, and of course your movie ticket information. If you want to listen to an audio-only podcast of the show, just search on iTunes or your favorite Android podcast app and just search for Collider or Collider Video and you'll find our podcast there. And most importantly, subscribe to this YouTube channel. Over 100,000 of you in just a month already have. Thank you so much for your support. I want to thank the people sitting at the table with me. First of all, sitting on my left, senior editor over at HitFix, Miss Roth Cornet. Roth, where can people find you online?
You can find me at hitfix.com and at Roth Cornet on Twitter. And thank you guys so much. This was so much fun. I haven't seen you in so long. I used to
know.
work for this guy.
You hang out with my wife more than you hang out with me.
I adore your wife.
I know, everybody
she's like
does.
I nominated her for greatest woman alive.
She's pretty awesome. And sitting over here, of course, Mr. David Griffin. David, where can people find you?
You can find me on screenrant.com on my writings. I also do some videos on Think Hero Pro on YouTube.
And you also probably hang out with my wife a lot more.
I do. I'm on the Arrow After Show. I actually took John's spot there. So, I mean, again, I'm just happy to be here. Thank you.
And of course, our lovely host today, Miss Sinead DeFries. Sinead, where can people find you online?
Well, I'm stuck with this Campea most of the time, but I am on Instagram, Twitter, everything else at Sinead DeFries and at thatsosinead.com.
And of course, you can find me on the various social media networks on Facebook and on Twitter, just at John Campea. Thanks a lot for following us, guys. My name is John Campea for Collider Video. Until next time, bye-bye.